Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Thought and Tailies. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation, either at work, with friends, or even family, where you just couldn't grasp why the other person was reacting the way they were? Or perhaps you felt utterly misunderstood, thinking, am I the only one who sees this clearly? If so, then our book today, Surrounded by Idiots, The 4 Types of Human Behavior and How to Effectively Communicate with Each in Business by Thomas Erikson, is about to become your new secret weapon. This isn't just another self-help book. It's a practical guide to decoding human interaction. At its very core, Surrounded by Idiots tackles a universal problem: the frustration that arises when we mistakenly assume everyone else perceives, processes, and communicates information the same way we do. Thomas Erikson, a behavioral scientist and lecturer, argues that this fundamental misunderstanding is the root cause of countless conflicts and miscommunications, often leading us to label others, unfairly, as idiots. His powerful solution lies in the widely recognized DISC model of human behavior, which he breaks down into 4 distinct, primary personality types, each vividly represented by a color. Red: imagine the CEO, the entrepreneur, the person who cuts straight to the chase. Reds are driven by results, challenges, and a desire for control. They are direct, assertive, decisive, and thrive in competitive environments. Communication with a red needs to be concise, logical, and focused on outcomes. They value efficiency and despise indecision or excessive emotionality. When talking to a red, get to the point quickly, offer solutions, and respect their need for leadership. Yellow: think of the life of the party, the charismatic speaker, the creative visionary. Yellows are highly social, optimistic, enthusiastic, and persuasive. They thrive on interaction, recognition, and inspiring others. Their communication is often lively, expressive, and full of big ideas. They love brainstorming and connecting on an emotional level, but can be easily distracted and less focused on details. To connect with a yellow, show enthusiasm, allow them to share ideas, and acknowledge their contributions publicly. Green: these are the calm, patient, supportive, and incredibly loyal team players. Greens value harmony, security, and strong, stable relationships. They are excellent listeners, prefer collaboration over conflict, and are deeply empathetic. Their communication style is gentle, reassuring, and they prioritize consensus and understanding. They dislike sudden changes or aggressive behavior. When interacting with a green, be patient, offer reassurance, and emphasize how decisions will foster stability and support for others. Blue: picture the meticulous scientist, the detail-oriented accountant, the quality control expert. Blues are analytical, logical, precise, and driven by accuracy and competence. They need facts, data, thorough explanations, and thrive on structure and order. Their communication is typically formal, cautious, and exact, often requiring time for careful consideration. To communicate effectively with a blue, provide detailed information, present logical arguments, and be prepared to answer specific data-driven questions. Avoid ambiguity or casual generalizations. Erikson asserts that while we all possess elements of each color, 1 or 2 colors usually dominate our behavior, forming our core communication style. The true brilliance of the book lies not just in helping you identify your own dominant color, but crucially, in providing practical strategies for recognizing the colors of those around you. Once you understand the underlying motivations and preferred communication styles of others, you gain the power to adapt your approach, manage expectations, and bridge the gaps that often lead to frustration. He fills the book with relatable, often humorous real-world examples that bring these theories to life, making the complex simple and actionable. It's about learning to speak their language so you can truly be heard and understood, transforming idiotic encounters into productive interactions. Now that we've got a solid grasp of the book's core, let us distill it into 10 actionable key points that you can start applying today to transform your interactions. Point 1. Everyone operates differently. It's not personal, it's personality. This is the foundational revelation of the book. Erikson emphasizes that people aren't deliberately trying to annoy you. They simply process information, make decisions, and communicate from a fundamentally different perspective. Your red friend isn't trying to be rude by being direct. Your blue colleague isn't trying to be slow by asking for details. Your yellow boss isn't disorganized. They're just highly spontaneous. Why it's important. Realizing this shifts your mindset from frustration to understanding. It removes the emotional charge from How to apply: when you feel irritated by someone's behavior, pause and ask yourself, what color traits might they be exhibiting? How might their natural style be influencing this? This reframes the problem from a personal slight to a communication style mismatch. Point 2. The DISC model is a tool for understanding, not a label for limiting. Erikson makes it very clear. The DISC colors are not meant to box people in or define their entire being. They are a simplified model to help you understand predictable behavioral patterns in communication and interaction. No one is purely one color. We all have a mix, but usually one or two are dominant. Why it's important. This prevents judgmental thinking. The goal isn't to say, oh, they're just a red, so I can't talk to them. It's to say, they're predominantly red, so I should adjust my approach. How to apply. Use the colors as a lens through which to observe and interpret, not as a permanent tattoo. Be flexible in your assessment as you get to know someone better. Point 3. Identify your own dominant color first, before you can effectively understand and adapt to others. You must understand yourself. What are your natural communication tendencies? How do you react under pressure? Are you direct, social, supportive, or analytical by default? The book provides self-assessment insights to help you pinpoint your primary color. Why it's important. Knowing your own color helps you recognize your strengths, but more importantly, your potential blind spots in areas where you might inadvertently cause friction with other colors. How to apply. Reflect on your past interactions. When did you feel most comfortable communicating? When did you feel most frustrated? Your answers can often point to your dominant color. Point 4. Learn to quickly recognize other people's colors through observation. This is where the practical magic happens. Erikson teaches you to look for cues. Do they talk fast and get straight to business? Are they animated and telling stories? Are they quiet, agreeable, and focused on relationships? Do they ask lots of questions and focus on facts? He gives specific examples of verbal and nonverbal tells for each type. Why it's important. The faster you can identify their primary style, the quicker you can adapt your approach, avoiding common pitfalls. How to apply. Practice active listening and observation in your daily life. Instead of just hearing what someone says, pay attention to how they say it, what they focus on, and how they prefer to make decisions. Point 5. Adapt your communication to their color for enhanced effectiveness. This is the core strategy. Once you've identified someone's color, tailor your message to resonate with their preferred style, not yours. For a red, be concise and result. For a green, be reassuring and focus on collaboration. For a blue, be precise and provide details. Why it's important. Speaking their language drastically improves comprehension, reduces resistance, and builds rapport, making your interactions far more productive and less frustrating. How to apply. Before a crucial conversation. Quickly assess the other person's probable color and mentally plan how you present your information to match their style. Point 6. No single color is superior. All have strengths and weaknesses. Erikson firmly debunks the idea that one personality type is inherently better than another. A red's directness can be inspiring leadership or blunt rudeness. A yellow's enthusiasm can be contagious or a green's patience can be stabilizing or indecisive. A blue's precision can be brilliant or bogged down by analysis paralysis. Why it's important. This promotes respect and appreciation for a well-rounded team or relationship benefits from a mix of all colors, as their strengths can complement each other and offset weaknesses. How to apply. Instead of criticizing a perceived weakness, try to reframe it as the extreme end of a strength inherent in their color. Appreciate what each color brings to the table. Point 7. Stress amplifies dominant traits and can reveal true colors. When people are under pressure, they often default heavily to their most dominant behavioral traits. A stressed red might become even more aggressive and controlling. A stressed yellow might become even more disorganized and attentive. A stressed green might become extremely passive. A stressed blue might become overly critical and withdrawn. Why it's important. Understanding this helps you interpret difficult behaviors during stressful times, allowing for empathy rather than immediate conflict. How to apply. When someone is acting particularly challenging, consider if they might be under stress and if their amplified color traits are at play. This can help you respond more strategically rather than react emotionally. Point 8. Beware of color blindness. Your own bias is your biggest obstacle. The most common mistake Erikson highlights is assuming everyone sees the world through your colors lens. If you're a blue, you might assume everyone values detail. If you're a red, you might assume everyone wants quick decisions. This color blindness leads to frustrating communication loops. Why it's important. It forces self. You need to consciously step outside your own default communication style to truly understand and engage others effectively. How to apply. Actively challenge your assumptions about others' motivations. If you find yourself thinking, why don't they just get it? Or why are they so? It's usually because you're applying your own color's logic to their different one. Point 9. Practice observation and understanding, not judgment. The book is not about labeling people to judge or dismiss them. Instead, it's an invitation to become a keen observer of human behavior. It encourages curiosity about why someone acts the way they do, rather than immediately condemning their actions. Why it's important. This mindset fosters empathy and builds bridges. When you understand the underlying drivers of a behavior, it's easier to find common ground and constructive solutions. How to apply. Approach every new interaction or challenging existing one with a curious mind. Try to figure out their color before you respond and adjust your reaction accordingly. Point 10. Ultimately, it leads to improved relationships and reduced conflict. The grand promise of applying the DISC model. By understanding yourself and others better, adapting your communication, and managing expectations, you naturally reduce misunderstandings, minimize friction, and foster stronger, more productive, and harmonious relationships in all aspects of your life, personal and professional. You'll find yourself feeling less surrounded by idiots and more surrounded by interesting, understandable individuals. Why it's important. This is the tangible benefit. Less stress, more effective collaboration, and deeper connections with the people around you. How to apply. Start small. Pick one person you often find challenging and consciously try to identify their color and adapt your communication with them for a week. This book truly shifts your perspective, making you a more effective communicator and a more empathetic human being. If you're ready to stop feeling misunderstood and start truly connecting with people, I genuinely urge you to pick up this book. It's an absolute game changer for interpersonal dynamics. Let me know in the comments below. Have you read it? And after hearing these points, what do you think your dominant color is? I'm a mix of your primary color and your secondary color. If you know it, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the Thought and Tailies for more insightful content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. See you next time.